Good afternoon, good evening, everybody. We're going to make this macrame double pot hanger. This video will be in two parts. This is part one. We'll be starting with the top and then we will proceed to part two afterwards. Let me see if you can go down and see how far it hangs down. Right, okay, so we're going to start. I've got my hook here. I have got my round wooden hook. I have got 8 pieces of 3.5 metre cotton here. And the size of the cotton is 3 millimetres, which means I'm going to get a very fine effect. Whereas if you're using 4 millimetre cotton, your effect's going to be chunkier, but it's also, you're going to need more cotton. So here I have an example of 4 millimetre. And can you see the difference in the knotting? So we will adapt the pattern to fit whatever cotton you might have. But realistically, I'm hoping, because I have a lot of cotton left over, it's not going to be an issue. Right, what I'm doing is getting the two ends to basically be roughly the same length, so that the round ring is in the centre. There we go. That's roughly it. I actually decided to use 2 different colours of cotton. So let's put some up there. I'm going to bring my rack. Decided to use this clothes rack. Right, let's move him over here. Okay, this is my own pattern as well, made up by me. Right, I'm going to start first of all making a gathering knot. So with a piece of cotton, let's have a look. That's 50. And well, there we go. 175. And another 75. I will probably take this cotton off when I'm finished. I'm just using bright green to give you a bit of colour difference. Okay, so we start by making a loop at the top of the cotton. Hold your threads together, hold that loop against the top, and then we're going to make a gathering knot. So put that down there, hold that down there. Right. Okay. And then bring that round. Once you've got it around the first time, it's fine. Don't worry about this falling. Just try and keep it flat. Okay. Two. Don't like me to stay. 3. This is one that I tend to do actually on the table. But I wanted you to all see what I was doing. Now, there we go. Okay, I've done enough. Now I've done all that I want to do. I'm going to push that end cord up through the loop, and from the other end, pull the other ends, pull them together, and then we have a nice tight gathering knots. Now, I don't want that very big, so I'm going to try and push it upwards. There we are. Just when you're doing that, make sure you grab all of your cords. I'm just going to give them a little tug, make sure they're tight. Right, that's a bit better. Right, there we are, and that's my gathering knot there, and those two ends will get trimmed. Okay, so we start by dividing our cords. We now have 16 because we fed through the top. Divide them into groups of 4. So if you pick up one group of 4, I'm going to try and pick up 2 browns and 2 of my pale ones. And I'm going to make 5 half square knots. So a half square knot is just doing the first half of a square knot. So 1, there's my C. 2, 3, 4. Can you see it starting to twist? And 5. Okay. So it's twisting at the moment. So to get it to twist further, I'm going to turn it round. There we go. So turned round 180 degrees anti-clockwise, and I'm going to make another 5 half square knots. So the string's quite long, so it's a bit of a pain to work with at the moment. Don't worry. 2. Excuse us moving around. 3. See, I'm keeping my thumbs here, trying to keep these tight and straight. Right, that's 3. 4. 5. And there I've done 10 half square knots, which has formed a twisted pattern. I'll try and move this a little bit nearer for the next step. Put that on my table. Okay, that's better. Right, now I'm going to leave a gap. Working on those 4. Now I've left a gap of 8 centimetres, so which is about there. And then I've made 5, 1, 2, 3, no, 4 square knots. So it's about there. Okay. So make sure these central cords stay central and nice and flat. Don't worry if it's not exactly your 8 centimetres. It's just making sure that that is nice and flat. Okay. And now, so there's 1 square knot. 2 square knots. Did I do both halves of that? I think so. Not sure. Let's have a look. No, I've only done 1 half of it. I've only done C. So here's the second half of the square knot. Just remember the square knot consists of 2 sides. Oh. So 2. Okay. So I've got my 4 square knots there. They don't look very nice to me, but I'm sure they're okay. 1, 2, 3. This is the last one for number 4. My first one just seems to be a little bit big, but that is the beauty of handmade. There we are, and we've got our 4 sets of these. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, then we're going to leave about 2 centimetres, and we're going to make a twisted square knot. Right, so let's just move this camera down a little bit. So the twisted square knot, take the 2 outside cords and put them in the inside. They're going to now be your filler cords, and make a twisted square knot. So it's a normal square knot once that twist is done. But because I'm using different colours, about 2 centimetres down, you can see how the brown's gone around the back and has now come to the front to be the working cord, whereas before the white or the beige was the working cord. So a little bit more up, so about 2 centimetres, didn't I? And 2 centimetres was 2.5 centimetres to the inch. Right, so that's next, the end of that. And can you see the beautiful pattern that it gives? And then another 2 centimetres down, we're going to do exactly the same again. So this time we're going to take 2 outside cords inside, and then the white have come now back to being the working cords. There's one. And we'll leave it about the same length, 2 centimetres. You can measure it with a ruler, tape measure. I'm just doing it roughly on ISO because I've got one sitting here and one that I think is about the right size. Right, yeah. Use my fingers a little bit here. And this is the second half of that twisted square knot, which has just gone wrong, so I'm going to redo that. Right. When your cords are this long, it can help to actually make an overhand knot and a great big double loop in them. So let's go back to here. So we've done the first, so we've done the C side of my square knot, so there's my D side. You see what I call it a D. Right, so let's pull that through properly. Holding that middle cord again. Right, that's a little bit higher than I'd like. So you can see just by a little bit of manipulation now, I was able to make that a little bit longer. So I have now got my 2 twisted square knots. So what I'm going to do now is separate each of the other strands into 3 sets of 4 and repeat that pattern. So once I've done that, and I'll use this as a line up, so once I've done that, I'll be back with you. Right, I've now finished each of the 4 sets of cords. So we're now going to move down to doing the bit which will hold the pot. So from one set of 4 cords, we're going to take the 2 cords on the right hand side, and from your adjacent strand, we're going to take 2 cords from the left hand side, and we're going to make a square knot. You see how I swap my colours around here? Made sure I had 2 of each on each knot. So we're going to place that again about 2 centimetres down. Okay. You see I've gone a little bit awry there, but hey ho. So there's one square knot and one square knot. Make these firm but obviously not too tight. Now you may find if you're working on an S hook like I am, sometimes it helps just to turn it around. So I'll move those out of the way. I'm actually finding using this because I've got long cords. So we've got the 2 cords left from here. Let me move down a bit. And from the next adjacent knot, I'll take these 2 cords and again form a square knot. I'm trying to keep all the cords flat in the position they're in. I'm going to bring you back now. Actually, just so there we are. Get a little bit of measurement there to line them up. 1, 2, 1, 2, through we go. Okay. Right, and then the remaining 2 cords on that side. The next 2 cords this side. I'm trying not to twist these knots around, that you've got them the way that they should be facing out. That's correct. It is easy to twist. Try to keep them flat. Right, that's brown in the centre. So this is only because I've gone white, brown, white, brown. There's 1/2 of the square knot coming on. It's roughly the same length. And the other half of the square knot. Obviously, working with a thinner cotton, I can make smaller loops to feed my thread through. It's a little bit too high. Let's loosen that a wee bit, drop it down a bit. Right, just let me turn that again. So on to the last remaining cords now. We've got 2 cords from here. So at the moment, we have like a net effect. So with our last 4 cords here, we'll make our last square knot on this row. Just remember, as we're working downwards, we're still working on the row theory. Each way round is a row. Yes, there we go, let's get it. Ooh. Okay, now if I grab the plant pot, you can sort of see what's going to happen now. There we go. So that is holding there. Yes, that's going to fall through at the moment, which means you can have a bigger pot in there. It won't be quite so big in a minute, because we're going to repeat the process that we've just done. So taking 2 cords from one string and the next 2 adjacent cords from another. We're going to make another square knot. These are the right colours. Okay. So it's brought the colours back to being the 2 filler cords the same. Here we are, and about same length down, so it's about 1.5 centimetres I've done. It's only a small pot. This is a 3-inch pot that I'm using at the top here. Okay, so that's that one done. With those 2 cords out of the way, turn round into the next knot. Okay, and we go. Just not about the same length as there. Yes, that's right. By measuring up against the other, it takes the need out of rulers, marking. You could mark your cotton with pencil as well, but they look pretty even. Let's have that again once more. So 2 more from this and 2 from the next. another square knot. So this will be our third or fourth on this row. Seems to be a bit too high, that one. Just about there. And then last but not least, another 4 square knots. That's same, yes. This is where you can afford not to be a perfectionist. So now you can see a bit better how the flower pot does sit. And what we're going to do now, we've finished, or nearly finished, our top panel. Because we are now going to make, like we have here, a gathering knots. So we'll take another piece of thread. Remember how I made the loop upwards last time? So I'll hold that there. And then I'm going to wrap round. Like I said earlier, I always find this bit more awkward. I'm all fingers and thumbs with this. So hold that on. And then just pull it round. You see, I've managed to tighten that already, even tighter. I'm a bit low down than what I want it to be. Don't worry too much about that. Because I pulled it up before, didn't I? Which I'll do again this time. Sometimes I decide I only want 5 or 6 wraps, but then I thought I shouldn't waste the cotton that I've cut. Maybe a little bit more. I'm just making sure that it's pressing against the neck. It's all nicely flat all the way around, just touching the previous layer. So there we go. Let me move you down a little bit. Okay, so that's nice and taut at the moment, doesn't it? It's better against my sheet, isn't it? So, and if you remember what we've done then, we pulled back through the loop. And he goes through the loop. Hold on to him and pull your bottom cords. So can you see what? I better pull my finger out. Keep pulling the bottom cord. Well, now if I pull the top cord now, it will tighten up this bit. So show you. Get like the old Christmas cracker. Pulling through. Okay. Actually, that's well done. Maybe I should have done it just a bit higher, actually. Yeah, I think maybe a little bit higher would have been nice. But if you've got a longer tub, I've got a bigger one here as well. So that's a 3-inch tub. This is a 4-inch tub, which we're, sorry, a 3.5-inch tub, which we're going to use for the bottom. The bottom slightly wider. Now you make it wider just by having different widths there. There we go. might look a bit better for you. No, it's definitely the smaller one. As I've designed this for, smaller up here. And I should have done that just slightly higher. So I'll probably undo that again and just do it that little bit higher. So you've got those hanging under that rim, which always looks nice. Clear plant pots would look nice with air plants in them. Right, we're going to take a break now, and that's the top half of your double pot plant holder completed. The next stage will be to complete the bottom half, which holds the bigger plant pots. It does hold the 3.5mm. So I'll just gently put that up there for you. Put that on top. So that will be your second half that we will be creating. Yeah. And we will just be adding beads in, something different. So come back later for that.